This video will explain the terms and conditions of your Scottish Secure Tenancy Agreement, which is a contract between you and Ardenglen Housing Association. The video will highlight the most important sections of the tenancy agreement, but we would advise you to review the document in its entirety when you receive it. Rent is due every calendar month, payable in arrears on the 28th of each month. We will consult you about any proposed rent increase or service charge and have regard to your opinions before we make our decision. We are entitled to change the amount of rent and any service charge as long as we tell you in writing at least 4 weeks before the beginning of the rental period when the charge is to start. If you break any part of this agreement, we may take legal action against you, including eviction proceedings, and charge you for any resulting losses we have suffered, including any legal expenses as assessed by the court. You are responsible for ensuring that no one living with you does anything that would be a breach of this agreement if they were the tenant. If they do, we will treat you as being responsible for any such action. If 2 or more people have signed this agreement, they are jointly liable for the terms and conditions of this agreement. This means that each one of them is fully responsible for making sure that all conditions in the agreement are kept to, including payment of rent. You must take entry to the house, occupy and furnish it, and use it solely as your only or principal home. You are entitled to have members of your family occupying the house with you as long as this does not lead to overcrowding. You must tell us who is living in the house, including when anyone moves in or out. If you do not inform us of changes in the household, this may impact on your ability to make changes to tenancy and for others to succeed to this tenancy. You should tell us as soon as there is any change in those who are living in your house. You must not allow your house to become overcrowded. If the overcrowding is a result of an increase in family size, you should apply to us for a house transfer, and we would try to get you a larger house. In this circumstance only, we will not treat you as being in breach of this condition. You, those living with you, and your visitors must take reasonable care to prevent damage to the house, decoration, furniture, fixtures and fittings, the common parts, and your neighbour's property. For example, you must tell us if you intend to go away for more than 4 weeks and your house will be unoccupied during that time, or if your house is going to be unoccupied for any length of time and there is a risk that the water pipes would freeze while you are away, you must tell us before you leave. You have the right, subject to the conditions noted in the tenancy agreement, to keep 1 domestic pet. If you wish to keep more than 1 domestic pet or any other type of animal, you must get our prior written permission. The following conditions apply. Keeping your pet is not prohibited by the Dangerous Dogs Act 1991 or by any other law. You're responsible for the behaviour of any pets owned by you or anyone living with you or visiting you. You're responsible for ensuring that pets are exercised away from association property. You must take all reasonable steps to supervise and keep such pets under control. You're responsible for ensuring that pets are kept on a lead. You must take all reasonable steps to prevent such pets causing nuisance, annoyance or danger to your neighbours. You must take reasonable care to see that such pets do not foul or cause damage to the house, your neighbour's property, anything belonging to us or anything we are responsible for, such as the common parts, play park and open spaces. Tenants are also responsible for ensuring that cats are spayed. The association is entitled to withdraw permission and request the removal of any animal which is causing nuisance or damage. You must not use or allow the house to be used for illegal or immoral purposes. This includes, but is not limited to, the following: dealing in controlled drugs, running a brothel, dealing in stolen goods, illegal betting and illegal gambling. You and anyone living with you must not run any kind of business from the house. However, if you ask us, we may give permission for this. While you're in occupation of the house, you must take reasonable efforts to heat the house, taking into account your income. You must take reasonable efforts to ventilate the house, using any suitable means in the house for doing so. No property belonging to you or anyone residing with you or anyone visiting you, including bicycles, motorcycles or prams, should be stored in any of the common parts except in areas set aside for storage. You must not do anything which causes inconvenience or danger to anyone using the common parts. If you fail to remove such items stored in breach of this clause within the timescale given by us, we may do it ourselves and dispose of the items. You agree to meet all costs of work carried out by us in terms of this clause. We will not be held liable for the cost of these items. You must put all your household rubbish for collection in the bin store or other proper place allocated for it. You must take reasonable care to see that your rubbish is properly bagged. If rubbish is normally collected from the street, it should not be put out earlier than the evening before the day of collection. Rubbish containers should be returned to their normal storage places as soon as possible after the rubbish has been collected. You must comply with local arrangements for the disposal of large items. The use of heaters fired by paraffin or LPG will not be permitted in your home unless they have been provided by us during an emergency. Storage of paraffin heaters, LPG containers or other explosive or flammable substances will not be permitted in your house or in any of the common parts, areas or facilities of your house. You, those living with you and your visitors must not harass or act in an antisocial manner or pursue a course of antisocial conduct against any person in the neighbourhood. Such people include residents, visitors, our employees, agents and contractors and those in your house. In particular, you, those living with you and visitors must not make excessive noise. This includes but is not limited to the use of televisions, speakers, radios, musical instruments and DIY tools. Fail to control pets properly or allow them to foul or cause damage to other people's property. Allow visitors to your house to be noisy or disruptive. Smoke in the common close or at the common front and back door. Use your house or allow it to be used for illegal or immoral purposes. Vandalise or damage our property or any part of the common parts or neighbourhood. Leave rubbish in unauthorised places. Allow your children to cause nuisance or annoyance to others by failing to exercise reasonable control over them. Use or carry offensive weapons. Use or sell unlawful drugs or sell alcohol or be involved in the production of unlawful drugs. Or harass or assault any person in the neighbourhood or your house for whatever reason. This includes that person's race, colour or ethnic origin, nationality, gender, sexuality, disability, age, religion or other belief. If you have a complaint about nuisance or annoyance or harassment which is being caused by a neighbour or anyone living with them or their visitors, you may report it to us and we will investigate your complaint. If you want to take in a lodger, add a joint tenant to the tenancy, sublet part or all of your house, assign the tenancy, carry out a mutual exchange or otherwise give up possession, you must first get our written permission. From the 1st of November 2019, the legislation around this area changed and you now need to have lived in the property for 12 months before any of these tenancy changes would be considered. In this agreement, the words repair and repairs include any work necessary to put the house into a state which is wind and watertight, habitable and in all respects reasonably fit for human habitation. During the course of your tenancy, we will carry out repairs or other work which is necessary to keep the house in a good condition. We will carry out all repairs within a reasonable time period of becoming aware that they need to be done. We will annually inspect any gas installations in the house provided by us. We will provide you with a copy of the inspection report within 28 days of the inspection. If the inspection reveals the need for repair or replacement of any such installation, we will do so within a reasonable time period. We will give you a copy of the current inspection record before the beginning of the tenancy. Nothing contained in this agreement makes us responsible for repairing damage which is caused willfully, accidentally or negligently by you, anyone living with you, or an invited visitor into your house. If we decide to carry out the work, you may have to pay us for the cost of the repair. This paragraph does not apply to damage which is caused by fair wear and tear or vandalism, provided that you have reported the damage to the police and us as soon as it is discovered. We have the right to come into your house and inspect it and its fixtures and fittings and to carry out repairs to it during reasonable times of the day. We will always give you at least 24 hours notice in writing. If we cause damage to the house or your property in connection with inspections, repairs or improvements, we will reinstate the damage or compensate you for your losses. This does not apply to any installation belonging to you, including flooring, which is to be lifted or moved to gain access to carry out an inspection or repair. If you want to alter, improve or enlarge the house, fixtures or fittings, or add new fixtures and fittings, put up a garage, shed or other structure, or decorate the outside of your house, you must first get our written permission. If you wish to end the tenancy can be ended in one of the following ways. By you giving us at least 28 days notice in writing, this is regardless of when the keys were handed in. By written agreement between you and us. By court order if the sheriff grants an order for eviction following a request by us. On your death, if the tenancy does not pass on to someone else, or by abandonment if we have reasonable grounds to believe that you are no longer living in the house. If you think that we have broken this agreement or have failed to do anything we promised, you can complain to us under the complaints procedure, which we will have made available to you. If you are happy with the terms and conditions of this agreement, you will be asked to sign your tenancy agreement. As well as the tenancy document, we will also ask you to sign our confirmation of understanding form. This will acknowledge that you understand your tenancy obligations, the rent arrangement made with you, and to certify the number of keys we have given you and that you have received the following documents: our tenant's handbook, our ways to pay your rent leaflet, the gas and electrical safety certificates for the property, and the gas safety information sheet. We hope you have found this video useful, but if you have any other questions which you would like answered, then please contact a member of our Housing Services team who would be happy to help.